Yes, my name is Ammar Singh. Yes, I'm in Norway. Mm, my field of research in digital education. I have a PhD in digital education, digital pedagogy, and currently I'm kind of independent researcher. That means I'm unemployed. So yeah, in short, yeah, this thesis is under development. I'm working on it, so this is not sort of final research. So these are the ideas under development. Um, this is a kind of some sort of sense feeling I developed during my PhD research. What is really important in the context of digital education or digital learning environment. So it's being, doing, and becoming as a competent learners in digital learning environments. What does it mean, being, doing, and becoming? So it's more about the challenges with the digital learning environments also. Just kind of my understanding. I'm not a tech guy, but my background is pedagogy. So, but I kind of try to understand how technology can be used in teaching and learning for social teaching and learning practices in digital learning environments. So I found sort of digital environments very design, mechanical, and tool dependent. And if any of these systems are not working, then our own existence of who we are, where we are, is kind of a little bit uncertain. So is this design entirely manipulated in a sense that how we have to do, how we have to behave, that's kind of pre-designed. And it also depends on the tool like learning management system and discussion forums and other sort of computers and other things. I'm not discussing this in detail, but what does it imply? What does it mean for teaching and learning? So implication of the digital learning environments is that our being in the digital learning environment is very design, mechanical, and tool dependent, and that might pose sort of several challenges of where we are, who we are, kind of thing. So what we are doing, we are just completing or doing something that is already pre-designed, like reading the text, completing the quizzes, and watching the videos, that sort of things. So it's becoming is kind of short-lived, ephemeral, and instrumental in the sense that you will not be able to go back to the same learning environments in most of the cases. Yeah. For example, the if you participate in the discussion forums, next year that forum will not be there. And from sociocultural perspective, our perspective, particularly the original perspective of Vygotsky, which is sort of developed by Anna Steltsenko, and she argued that our unity of knowing, being, and doing kind of constitutive of our ontological and epistemological becoming. I mean, these three activities are ontologically and epistemologically primary. I mean, they should be united together. And other researchers in online educations also show that the unity of like teacher presence, learner presence, social presence, and cognitive presence that are very crucial for learning and meaning making process. However, the digital learning environments kind of broad, emerging, new environments emerging, some sort of old sort of infrastructures or environments sort of disappears. That's what is happening in online learning environments. For example, most of the MOOCs learning environments, they are no longer open now. You have to pay to access the courses, then that sort of things, or they have been modified or they have been localized and all can't access to that environment. Now it is the discussion about the intelligent environment. Now we don't need the teachers, and then many people kind of thinking that AI can take the responsibility of teaching and can guide us in learning and teaching. That sort of the research argument is coming up. I don't know. whether they will be really useful or helpful. But the digital learning environment, some sort of imagine a teacherless environment where the students can operate independently or work independently. And digital learning environments are not organic environments. I mean, in the sense that they are very much mechanical. You need to have electricity or internet or some fundamental infrastructure in place, like computer. I can't connect or talk to you without my computer, so it's very mechanical in the sense that. And of course, there are the issues of digital divide. Who can have those resources, good resources, quality access? That sort of issues are there. So because of this designed or programmed natures of digital learning environments, what scholars argue that the student agency to learn is sort of reduced to actual information acquisition rather than participating in discussion and debate. And from the cultural historical perspective, our social relations, social activities are fundamental to learning and meaning-making processes. And they and create some sort of space or from sociocultural perspective, the zone of proximal development, and which is very relational in the sense that it only created when we engage with other people. And for that, you need a very not very sporadic, reactive engagement, a kind of well thought, well planned engagement in learning activities. Without that sort of activities, there is a very little possibility of creating a zone of proximal development. However, like we have been sort of, we have been focusing on the learning management system, like counting, quantifying our activities, our comments, our responses. On the basis of those responses, then we sort of, identify these are active, not active. So learning, learning activities have been really been quantified. The quantifications and learning activities, yeah, that's also very important, to know who are active and who are not active. But at the same time, that's very basics for the learning, to my understanding. So, and a meaning making process is kind of integral process of being, knowing, and doing as an inclusive learning environments, understanding desire, aspiration, and emotion and hopes. And these emotion, aspirations, hopes, they only come off when we are really engaged with other people. And in the by the default, digital learning environments support more about a synchronous type of learning activity. You have to type, right? I don't know how much we can be effective in communicating in the written forms. That's quite challenging to write everything in writings. So meaning making is very relational, collaborative processes, and that is what is lacking in online learning environments. Also, that the task of education is to work on the developing learner agency, and agency is or I define is your capacity to learn how to engage in meaningful learning activities. Either you can engage individually or in collaboratively. And the agencies sort of act of social transformation by providing them with access to the tools and that offers such agencies. And some research indicate that like online text, like course video materials, reading material might provide some sort of resources to develop our agency as we use those resources to develop our understanding of course content and try to solve the given problems. And what is important is, the social spaces for contributions, and unless you are allowed it to make a contribution according to your own pace and your own speed, or according to your own tools, or like the issues of flexibility. But at least the social spaces that allow for contributing people in meaning making process is very important for learning and for developing agency. So how we can provide a space where individual sort of agencies can come together so that our sense of knowing and being together with other people and doing and then becoming as a competent learner emerge. Uh, However, it has been long been, documented well, online learning environment diminishes the sense of belonging and community spaces, community activities, increasing what Moore calls the transactional distances, a psychological gap created by the lack of interaction among participants. I feel that the recent trend in online education is going more about, designing more activities and including AI and not focusing on the human to human interactions. While the research already shows that the human to human interaction is very crucial for learning. Even more crucially in online environments where we are unknown, we don't know each other, who other participants are, where they are, and there are a lot of unexpected technical glitches happen. Mm. So in such an environment, social interaction collaboration is even more important. I feel that. And still we have the kind of understanding that knowledge is something we store in the book, we kind of deliver, give them through the text or video, but knowledge is not something we positively store, retrieve, but it is some sort of activity that we enact while learning and reenact while engaging in problem solving. So more important is providing space and activities for the participants where they can really bring their experiences and knowledge to understand each other and solve problems. So knowledge is a kind of a tool for agency. That means your experiences, your practical knowledge and activity, they are the tool for agency and activism that is effectuated while engaging in collaborative learning activities. So whether I have an agency, whether I am knowledgeable, whether I know and don't know, these things sort of evolve when I learn to articulate my ideas and views. And when those ideas and views are challenged or questioned, and where I'm allowed to kind of, that to clarify or to take positions about my views. Yeah, this is how learning happens, and these things are missing in online learning environments. And so the collaborative practices were our being and becoming, doing and becoming our ontological central, mutually co-constitutive process of social practices, inclusive individual and collective agencies. So the collaborative practices are very fundamental of our being and doing and becoming, both as a human being, as a competent learner also. So the issues are whether we have, problem posing and also this is very, these are the ideas of Paulo Freire, the problem solving or problem posing. And online learning environment seems to be designed only for problem solving. You have the set of problem and then you have the guidance how to solve the problem, not how to really understand those problems by posing questions and that sort of things. So whereas let's say and problem posing require a great deal of work involving judgment, evaluation, meaning making and committed deliberations. And but online learning education activities are more instrumental, focusing on problem solving, leading to isolation and disengagement. And this has been, many researchers have, documented this. Therefore, the MOOC, there have been a lot of, um, dropout in the MOOCs, and then many MOOCs sort of, fail to transform or disrupt, sort of. So, knowledge and cognition are distributed across the network and technology. This is what is what Siemens and the colleagues say about online learning environments. It's distributed, but distributed to where in the but how it can be retrieved. They have a very technical understanding of learning. Sort of that the technology sort of become a participant of making connection and producing learning. And this is a model I have developed based on my PhD research. And this model I developed by analyzing the data in the discussion forums, those dialogical data when we post question, the participant reply, and other also online meetings, how the participant can meet online themselves without the teacher's guidance. Of course, they will provide very basic information. For example, at least maximum 4 participants can engage in online meeting, because we found very unproductive when more participants are there in online meetings. So we asked them to engage in online meeting of maximum 4 participants and organize online meeting themselves. Also, we gave them some sort of task. For example, the examination assignment. They could discuss about examination assignment and share what they have done, what kind of idea they have produced about understanding and solving examination assignment. So this is a kind of I call it a process, model of developing agency in teaching and learning in online learning environments. So the basic is co-orientations. Co-orientation means knowing about your own problems and about how you want to contribute. Sort of at least you sort of have some sort of ideas how you would like to contribute. What is your problem? I want to discuss what we want to share. So that's orientations. And I found 3 types of orientations. I mean, 3 types. I mean, the first type is you don't know anything about the learning concept, but you have something to do. That's very time consuming, but you learn by trial and error. And second type of orientation is more about teacher constructed or guided orientations. Teachers, provide a framework and activity of learning and completing your task, and then they still engage with that sort of activities. And the third type of orientation is very agentic, in the sense that the students know themselves what they're gonna do, what are their problems, how they want to solve it. So they're taking initiative themselves to organize the meeting and share their ideas, the draft of their Google documents. So that's a different 2 types of orientations. And they engage with the task, engagement. And my sort of assertion is that unless you engage as the teachers, as a students yourself, there is not a meaningful learning. So we should have an opportunity to engage as a learner, as co-learner and co-participant, so co-facilitator, and then that can be more productive and meaningful learning. Contribution, and one of the advantage of online learning environments is providing flexible spaces for contribution, in the sense that we have a discussion forum where we can communicate asynchronously, or you have online meeting, you can communicate asynchronously, or you have blogs, post something, or use social media to communicate ideas. That's a kind of flexible spaces provided by digital learning environment for the contributions. But your contributions, our contributions become meaningful when they are read by others, questioned by others, and asked for explanations. When that process keeps evolving, then our agency in learning also evolves, and our sense of being who we are and what we are doing and how we are becoming also evolves in that process. And the transformation is not that a big sort of a transformation. It's a transformation, kind of self-transformations, and knowing who you are, what you want to learn, and how you want to learn, what are your challenges. At the same time, when you engage together with other people and developing a shared understanding of the learning concept of problems and how to solve them, and then outlining the further activities to understand the problem further.
About 2 minutes to finish up.
Yes, I'm about to finish. So knowing is sort of in doing it, I can call it, and it's kind of deeply personal, passionate, and ethically evaluated process, and which unfolds in collaborative teaching and learning activities. And so the teaching and learning is the path for the learner and teachers to come together to explore, enact and realize their identities, and through co-creation in the shared practices. Such a process demands a tool for agency, self-reward, and authoring and activism. And thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you
Thank you for your
very
attention.
much.